Batman Dark Patterns, issue 8. Dan Waters writing with Hayden Sherman on the art. So, yeah, this is the second part of the, and I'm going to butcher the name of this because
Okay, I'm going to help you.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Pretty spot on.
Okay.
Yeah. I say pareidolia, but you're probably closer because you're reading it phonetically. So.
I wouldn't assume anything. I might be butchering it. For all we know, there's
that's close enough.
A silent letter in there. It's like Pareidolia or something. I don't know. Anywho, so the whole thing last issue, which was again a super dark issue with this Red Hood gang, or a murder in the style of what the Red Hood gang used to do back in the day, in this part of the city, it was super dark, super vicious, and definitely feels like Dan Waters keeps upping the ante of like how grisly he can make the book feel in like a really satisfying way. So he's been, scouring that area every single night. Right, he's been going around trying to find any evidence or leads, and he can't find any. The press keep talking about it, and we also have the coroner dude, like examining the body they found, but basically saying there's nothing here to find. Like he claims that there's like nothing here that's identifying or could lead to a culprit, and Batman's like, do it again. And even Gordon's like, hey, there's other things going on in the city, Batman. Like, should we be obsessing over this? And Batman's like, no, this one matters, Gordon. This one matters. We're doing this. So, yeah, he's got a vested interest in this here.
And a Bruce the 5 o'clock shadow. 5 o'clock shadow. It's always a fun look. Because man's going through it. And even Gordon comments on that after he yells at Sarnika. He goes, all right, do it again. And if you find nothing, do it again until you find something. And even Gordon's like, God damn, man, take a chill pill. And then he looks at Sarnika as they're leaving and is like, he looks exhausted. So yeah, I like that whole interaction in that scene.
Yeah, and then he goes to yell at the reporter who keeps writing about his antics, saying he's pissing him off, basically. He's like, I was trying to get your attention. He's like, I'm busy. Like, leave me alone.
He's like, well, you got it now.
But he does tell him something about Dr. Sakura, the coroner. We don't get to hear what it is, but he does say that he was fired from his previous job, and we don't hear what he tells Batman. But Batman just sort of says, "Oh, he has to like not think about that now. He's got other stuff to contend with." So they're still teasing out what we're doing with that. But once Batman goes back to the scene of the crime, the washing machine where the body was found, there's these two kids that are kind of watching and commenting on what he's doing and saying, "Oh, he'll never find anything. This is whatever." Batman catches them and chases them down a couple of alleyways and ends up into like a backyard area where there's like a fresh grave. And he's like, "Wait a minute, what is this? This is only like 5 minutes away from the crime scene. What is this grave?" And it's kind of showing that he's a bit off kilter right now. He just starts like digging with his hands, like frantically, to try and like get into what's inside. And I'm like, look, admittedly, it's a human-sized grave in like a very non-cemetery place, so it is suspicious. And yes, I get that you do have to look into this, but the fact that you're just dropping to your knees and like rummaging through the mud without getting a tool or maybe dealing with the kids first feels, feels like he's obsessed. It feels like he's like desperate to find answers for what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that's in with the idea of pareidolia, right? Because we talked about what pareidolia was in I know not the last issue because I wasn't here for that one, but I remember when it was being solicited, because pareidolia is that since our brain looks for patterns, so we see faces where they're not.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering if
he defined that and talked a lot about it in the last issue.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is him looking for patterns that aren't there. Right. And that's why he's off his game. He's so desperate that it's got to make sense in a way that he understands that he completely misses all of the danger that's at play.
Yeah, because he digs down, he opens up the metal coffin. There's nothing inside it, right? He's frustrated, but immediately there's a rifle pointing at him from a window up top. And we get maybe the best like page of the book is this 2-page layout where it's like the wraparound full 2-page spread, if you will, is of like the entire setting, and you see the shooter up in the window, Batman's down in the bottom right with the bullet hitting the back of his shoulder. But you've got these long panels like all the way through going down to him. So they're in the order of like going as if the bullet's trajectory is going down towards him. but you get this sense of motion going down. And Batman's describing, because of like the sound, the caliber, all this, like he's already like placing all these details, and he's already solving the crime. But he kind of reveals at the very end of it all that because of the type of gun it is, and because the bullet travels quicker than sound, by the time he's heard the gunshot, it means he's already hit. So, it feels like, he gets mud all over his outfit. It feels like he's pretty down and out. And he angrily climbs up to the window that took a shot at him, only to find that a really old man's in a wheelchair with a breather. But the rifle's sitting next to him. So it's pretty clear that it was him if someone else didn't just run away. And basically complains that, hey, Batman, like the Red Hood gang used to keep things, going smoothly in this part of town. Everyone acted with respect because they knew what would happen to them if they crossed the Red Hood gang, and has this little flashback moment. And I want to compliment something in the art here, is that there's a panel when he's like telling this story about how things used to be. The bottom one in that page is kind of like almost an S shape of like black and white flashback panels. The bottom one, the way that the two guys in the foreground are looking at each other is almost identical to a panel earlier in the issue when the two kids were looking at each other. And my mind immediately went, wait a minute, there's a correlation there. And sure enough, very quickly after this, it turns out these two kids are working for the old man, and they're both wearing red hoodies. And like this old man wants to keep the red hood threat alive. And he also talks about how the body was this woman that crossed them way back when. And so the implication I think they're going for here is that grave is only fresh because it was dug up to retrieve her body and then dress it up for the crime scene where Batman found it. Because it was to scare everyone into thinking the Red Hood gang's around. So this was kind of the big reveal.
So Batman's been literally chasing ghosts.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
Yeah. So, which I love. And when the kids come in and I realized they were wearing red jackets the whole time, it was one of those things that you go back and it was always there. You just weren't looking for it. Which again, I feel like goes in with the pattern recognition kind of theme. Which goddamn Dan Watters. Constantly working on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's hard for me to pick favorites out of the arcs in this book so far, because I think they've all been very good in different ways, even though they're all sort of feeding into this kind of dark and horror-fueled version of Gotham that he's operating under. This murder in the body that was found last issue might be the darkest thing in the book, which is saying something when this book started off with an arc about the what was his name?
The Wound Man.
The Wound Man. I was trying to remember what word it was that he had for his title.
I will never forget the Wound Man. He haunts my dreams.
Oh, I always remember what it looks like, but I'm like, is it the Injury Man? Is it the I don't know. Like
this one hits onto the psychological level because it's the idea that the Rookery neighborhood still like isn't the best, but this old man was like, yeah. It was better when we were running things. And when Batman showed up and chased out the Red Hood gang, that's when it got bad. And I was like, well, no, dude, like you've deluded yourself into thinking you guys were important. Right. And that's the thing with like all the mob movies and that kind of mentality because we get it here in Vegas a lot where people are like, oh, it was such a better place when the mob ran Vegas. And I was like, guys, there's barely anybody left from that time period. Like maybe our grandparents, But yeah, so just the danger of that way of thinking, that things were better back then, and yeah, so and the fact that Bruce has been chasing ghosts and this is his own hubris catching up with him, that he thinks he can just do things by himself instead of listening to Gordon and being like, hey man, while you were out there in the Rookery, 2 other people died that, we could use your help. So Batman had just listened. So which gives it that early Batman vibe still too.
Yeah,
he's still kind of learning and learning on to trust. But I want to know what Serenica did because that dude worked at a place called the Florida Body Farm, and that definitely doesn't sound like a good place. Which I know what it is. It's like when you donate your body to science, they do things to the bodies to see how they decompose.
Oh, I thought you just meant because it's in Florida.
Well, that too. But they see what happens, when a body decomposes in the name of science. So then they can use that science to help solve crimes and whatever. If he got kicked out of that, now he's a medical examiner in Gotham. Like, what the hell? So I'm looking forward to that revelation too.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I have a hard time faulting much here. It's kind of stealthily, arguably the best Batman book right now. And that's when we've got Tom Taylor doing Detective, which I'm liking a lot. But this, I think, is arguably the better book for just atmosphere and vibes and just sort of the darker themes that it's hitting on.
Yeah, it's this Batman, or it's probably this, the Batman and Robin, and then Tech, I think. But they're all very strong in their own ways. Yeah. Right?
And that's just on the ongoings. Like, if we include Batman and Robin Year One, then we're kind of swimming in good Batman right now. It's just actual Batman that's the problem.
Yeah. You know, and then Batgirl's good, and Nightwing's been good. So this section is going strong. So, and just let Dan Waters tell whatever stories he wants at this point. I am fully in on this dude.
For sure.
So,
what are you giving Dark Patterns?
I'm giving this a 9.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. 9 out of 10. I concur.